Join me today as we take a look at this witch from the other world, tongue and all. This is one of those third-party companies that it's just an original design, okay? And this artwork is stunning. Look at it. It's very, very nice. Called Fatereal, I don't know, and then redness. There's a lot of stuff here that I don't know. And that's what it says up there. Witch from another world. Well, that's convenient. Moving on. So that's the front of the box. We got the top of the box up here, which is probably some branding. Produced by Dimension Embodiment. It's a 112 figure. Okay. Back of the box, you got a bunch of stuff going on here that we need to translate as well. There's a little bit of English, but let's check it out. So it's pretty much all warnings about how you need to be careful with the figure and be delicate with the stuff, which is pretty standard. So let's take a look at all of the good parts of this thing, which is the figure. The box is not a bad looking box. Flip the flap. You get a preview of what's going on here. This came directly from 5K Toys. And look, folks, this is one of those things that ends up selling out while you're watching this video at some point anyway. It might be a couple weeks. I don't know. It's always different. But anyway, what am I trying to say? This thing is $85, I believe, on 5K Toys. And it's available right now, which means it can sell out. It's not a pre-order. Or you could go to Big Bad Toy Store and spend $135, but it's already sold out. So, you know, spend more on something you can't buy or spend less and get it now. Great. Okay. Convenient. Now, you might look inside this thing and think, oh, that's just a blank box. But no, look, there's a sleeve in here that I don't know if it was put in backwards or what, but you have this card in there. I would assume it just got placed in there backwards, but that's it. We're moving on. There's a lot going on here. So we actually have instructions, which is good because I think there's, well, like I've already said, there's a lot going on here. So knowing how this stuff works is probably really important before you dig into it. Oh, see, they even talk about that card being there, and then you could set it up as a display. But you get stands that can be used in multiple ways. You get all these wings and swords and all kinds of crazy stuff. Same information I think that we saw in the back of the box, but we have it in Chinese, English, and Japanese. So that's pretty sweet. They're covering all of their primary bases for collectors, except for Koreans. I'm sorry. And Spanish, and obviously there's a lot of other languages. I just mean Japan and China, big time on anime. And Korea. And when I say it comes from 5K Toys, I mean they sent it to me so that you all could take a look at it. I don't know anything about this figure besides what I've already told you and what I'm about to show you. And yeah, this is probably going to be one of those that has some pretty inappropriate faces or whatever. But, you know, you don't have to use those. Let me know down in the comments if you only use those. Look at this thing. There's so much stuff in here. Thank goodness it comes with instructions, which I'm gonna have to keep handy so that I know what the heck I'm doing here. But we got the figure, we've got faceplates, we've got all this stuff, and all this stuff. I can't keep up. Let's just start with the fact that it comes with 3 stands. They're all the same, so you get 3 of everything I'm about to show you, which is insane. But you get this stand, and then you get a posable arm, which is nice. It's got 3 points of articulation and screws, so you can tighten those things down if they tend to get a little bit loose. 3 of these extensions, I'm guessing is an extension. I'm not totally sure what this is. Maybe it goes into the top. I don't know. Maybe they're connected some way, and then you get this piece, which is maybe the part that goes into her back or something. We will find out. There are no claws here. And then you get 3 of these, maybe a way to link these things together. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And finally, 3 of these, which are just alternate ways to mount something. There's so much here. I don't know what to think of any of it. Assuming different ways to mount to the figure. And because maybe there are different figures that these stands work with, I can't imagine that they were made only for her. But whatever, you get 3 of them, which is crazy. So if you can have 3 figures, or maybe you need them to mount all of this stuff. Let's move on. Up next, we've got a lot of little bits and pieces. And goodness sakes, I need to just look at this stupid manual. All right, I'm gonna forget all this. I'm gonna have to probably keep looking. There's a lot going on here, folks, and I'm sure that I'm not gonna put it all together properly throughout this entire video. There's a couple ways that you can mount the figure, or at least the parts to the figure, rather. Oh boy, this is a lot. So taking the large one and this smaller one, apparently these are designed to work together in this fashion for whatever it is. I don't know. And then you get this smaller version of that, which is supposed to connect to way over here, this part, which is, I don't know, some kind of blade effect or something. This is, it's so wild. I assume it's a handle that she would hold on to, and then this is like an energy blade. Maybe. This, which is labeled as her tail, which is bendable. We've seen this before with some other figures, but this is, it's nice. It works well. I like the translucent stuff. So we've got pointing fingers, which are here, which is also very classic. I mean, if you're gonna have an anime character, you gotta have these kinds of hands. It's just required, right? And then you get these, which is if she wants to pretend to be Spider-Man. Maybe she's going to a local convention and she needs to shoot her webs. And then here, you got some peace signs, which are nice. Left and right of all of these, by the way. And then you get these tiny little baby fists. So tiny. And her gripping hands, which, as you can see, since the thumb is connected to the fingers, this is why everything has to separate like this, so that you can slide these pieces into the hands and not be stuck with you know, trying to wrap thumbs and stuff around things. So very smart. It's gonna look awesome in action. Moving on, we have some alternate brackets here to connect the things to the stuff, man. There's just so much here. I don't know. She's an FJ Cruiser. And then you get these, which does it, yes, it has moving parts. Good Lord, there's so much here. I mean, if you like mech stuff, or you like Gundam and you like those kind of Gundam girl model things that are like robot ladies that are not part of the Gundam world, but you know what I'm talking about. I think this is gonna fall in line with that. Like, she's not necessarily robotic, but she's got robotic-esque abilities? I don't know. And then you get this thing, which does, look, it articulates. It expands to become this incredible looking thing, I don't know, that shoots energy or something. These parts do come apart. There's so much here. It's super cool though. And you get 4 of these things, which I'm sure are gonna connect specifically to specific things to do a very specific thing. Is that helpful? I don't know. And then these are supposed to slide into this spot, and then you slide it back to lock it in place, and now you got this pretty epic looking thing, man. This is like watching Final Fantasy or something. I mean, this is awesome. You get this, which is now called a Phantom Flame. If you use this layout, it's saying that the band is required. So you would use either this little tiny piece or this angled piece, and then you're supposed to put it in here so that it handles the weight of the part. But okay, cool. So we're getting somewhere, folks. But that's a pretty cool sword, and obviously you could expand it like that if you wanted to. Moving on, I think we've talked about all those parts. Right now there's so many I'm lost. Let's look at the alternate faces. This face, which is just kind of a standard, I don't know, just typical anime. The eyes look super cool though. And then you get this one, which is another kind of standard anime look with the fangs, right? Like sometimes you just need a good old-fashioned fang lady to fall in love with. Look at those eyeballs. Those are weird. So maybe, I don't know. I mean, she's called a witch, so whatever's happening there, witch-wise. Which way? Which way? And here is our expected inappropriate anime face. Tongue and all. On to the figure where all the main details are. This is kind of one of the reasons why you buy the figure, even though I did say that the stands alone might be the reason why. So looking at her hair, she's kind of got this metallic coating, which is pretty cool, or like a pearlescence to this pink, which actually looks really nice, especially in person, and I'm gonna assume that the B-roll does pick that up pretty well. She's got horns, which look like there's blood coming off of or something. She's got the same eyes from the other faceplates, but now a nice neutral pose. The hair looks cool, and it does articulate, but it's all kind of in theme with the rest of the parts here, the colors and everything. Obviously, I mean, it should be, but they articulate and have the weird mechanical bits to it. Outfit-wise, there's a lot of detail going on here with the paint. Again, we get to see these things kind of mirrored in the effects pieces, or the blades, or whatever you want to call them. The armor bits, I mean, she doesn't have a whole lot of armor. She's mostly just exposed, as, you know, women in animation tend to be. They rarely ever have full protection, but then if you make a guy version of this, he's like armored head to toe. Anyway, looking at the details, the gauntlets here and the hands are just like, the hands that are on her by default are just these kind of neutral pose, which is nice. She seems to have very nice articulation, and then these things are pliable. So you can't, from what I can tell, you cannot remove these in any way, but they are pliable, which shouldn't limit her articulation too much, but maybe a little bit. I mean, she is fully painted underneath there, but you'll never really have that exposed, so sorry if you freaky like that. Moving on, she's got a little bit of thigh bulging from her stockings, which is another kind of very new standard thing for anime, to have that little I don't know why, but whatever. And then you got these things on the back which do articulate, which is pretty cool, so you get a good old look at her armor bits. Which doesn't look too bad. Looks nice and plump and yummy tasty time. What? Disregard what I just said. We've got a lot of color, a lot of paint, gradients and things here, which is really nice. So you're getting good quality finish on all of these parts, and you can do that when you don't have to pay a license to some company. Like, this is all original ideas, but it looks like something you could see, I don't know, maybe Sword Art Online. Haven't watched it, but it seems like something that would be on a promo for that. And but it looks great. The details are really nicely done. She is a very unique figure though, but this is definitely a figure that if you like the design, or you're trying to put this with some other, like, I don't know, maybe you buy those models that you have to put together that are like this. So taking the tail, as you can see, she's got that hole in her back, which I assume that we can probably get the stands to connect to. Yeah, so you can at least get the stands in different layouts to fit in there, and then have her in the air, which is going to be cool with her and her layout, and just having all of these weapons blasting around her. So that's pretty cool. I wish there was a little more articulation in the front flaps, like in the back, so you could have some more like kind of wind motions. But beyond that, let's put the tail in there. So now she's a little witchy devil girl with her horns and her tail, looking super cute. She's like, I still love pink though. Like, yeah, I'm a witch, but also pink is my jam. And purples. And, you know, not only do you get all of that stuff, but it comes with 2 extra pegs, just in case something snaps later on down the line, like some wrist pegs or something. And then you can replace them without being like, oh my gosh, I bought this thing 3 years ago and that thing broke. Well, don't worry, just hold on to that little baggie and you're good. But here she is holding her blade in a standard mode, which is easy and lightweight, so she don't need a stand in order for this to work. And it looks pretty cool. I mean, she's definitely ready to take some people out. You know what I mean? I don't even know what I mean. So you can't say, yeah, I know what you mean. Where's she taking them? The store? Out to dinner? And just to show you, so this is like super hyper sword thing that is pretty epic. This is why it requires a stand. It's just so heavy that her tiny little wrist can't hold it. So you might be able to do 2 hands. That might work, but a stand is definitely required. Yeah, so it's gonna work really well. It's gonna look awesome, hopefully. There's a lot here, folks. I gotta say, this is such a awesome concept. A lot of really cool things going on here. And I think that if you're a fan of this kind of stuff and you don't need some direct connection to this thing, you don't need nostalgia that you unbox, then you can really enjoy this thing for what it is, which is just a cool anime artwork piece. It's concept art turned into something really cool action figure wise, and whoever designed this thing is probably really having a lot of fun seeing their product created into, what am I trying to say? If you drew something really cool that was all original and then you got an action figure made from it, that's pretty cool. And I didn't notice this, but it says Redness Fatereal on her little flappy thing. So pretty awesome, I gotta say. If you enjoyed this review, then click the top one there and see something else from 5K Toys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.